ourselves a tail. We're making the loop. There's the loop. I'll hold that so I have a loop. And tension that. Okay. So there's my loop around my fingers. I'm tensioned up around my other finger. I'm holding this tail. I'm going into my loop. Right? As if to knit. And I'm grabbing my tension, my working yarn. Then I'm going to do it as if to purl. That's 2 stitches. Then as if to knit, as if to purl, as if to knit, as if to purl. All the way around we have 6. That's our working yarn. That's our big loop. Here's our tail if all goes well. Whoop. A nice thing about that is that if we do magic loop, we can always, and magic loop pulls at our needles, we can always just kind of boop boop and tighten up that hole. All right, so we're going to, instructions say, join in the round. So I'm not going to knit this one. I have to slide them down. So my working yarn is at the back. And now I'm catching that first one. Here we go. And see how handy that is? Tighten that up. Didn't tighten my first thing here, but it'll be okay. And we're going to do, so that's just a setup row. So right back to our first row of knitting. Well, it'll be second row of knitting technically. So we're going to have 2 setup rows of just knit stitch. And this row, this is why there's a second row. This is for my magic loop, 3 on each side. There we go. And then by my count, that puts us at the beginning of the row, confirmed by where that thing's coming out. So we're going to place a marker. This little guide just to remind us where the beginning of the row is. Because sometimes we get enthusiastic. There we go. Get 2 ends stuck there. No, we don't. You're just really not. Not helpful today. Okay, and then we're going to do our 3rd row of knitting, which is third round. And this is why I don't like magic loop, because look, where's my loop? Well, that's partly why that's there. show that who's boss. Here we go. Everything's good. Nothing's twisted that isn't supposed to be. Here we are, back to the beginning. Well, we're not in the beginning, we're in the middle. And we know that because our marker's not, we're not in our marker yet. Okay, and I could keep my finger in there when I pull it. Should be okay. Ooh, that tail's really long. Okay, and I'm going to trap my round marker, slip them over. Okay, so here's our first row of patterning. We're going to go from 6 stitches to 12, and we're going to knit one front and back. Okay, so knit it in the front, knit it in the back. At the front of the stitch being that, because it's closest to the needle tip. The back, oh, there's the back stitch. It's the back not because it's behind, it's back because it's furthest away from the needle tip. So we're still on the knit front and back, yep. Front, knit, back. And now we have 6 on each. Keep her tail out of the way. It's a really long tail this time. Okay, and now it's just what I call a resting row or a lock it in row. And this pattern, I'm going to twist all the stitches because this is silk. So I'm not going to knit that front stitch this way. I'm going to knit it into the back leg that way. And I'm going to do that the whole way around. But if you're not using something super, super slick like silk, you can just knit them and it turns out fine. The twisted just gives a little bit more definition. So that's your choice. Now we got our, oh no, look at you. Well, at least you're there. We know this is the beginning. Wherever this mess ends up being. That's our beginning side. And it doesn't have to be on our needles in our way. He can be down here. It's just for us to know when we start again. So our next pattern row, we did the knit front and back. Now we're going to knit one yarn over, which is going to also double our stitches. Okay? And let's twist them. Again, you don't have to, but I am, because this is again silk. So I'm knitting in the back of the stitch, yarn over, all the way around. So this is the row of knit one, yarn over, knit one, yarn over, twist one, yarn over. They're all twisted actually, but twist one, and yarn over at the end of the row. And make sure you keep a finger in there so you lose your little magic loop. And also be cognizant that as you push these yarn overs up, they might twist over each other and then kind of make you not real happy for a little bit. You might have to fight with it. So you see these, that means we're on a resting row, or a lock it in row, however you want to call it. But that's the purpose of these rows. And in this case, we're twisting the first one as we have been. And I'm not going to twist that yarn over. The reason being, if I do, I lose my hole. Or I don't have a hole that's quite as big. And this being lace, let's make the holes as big as we can. So, twist one, knit one, twist one, knit one, twist one, knit one, twist one, and what happened? Where'd my yarn over go? Something happened and I lost it. So, easy. Don't cry, don't rip anything out. Just pick up the bar between those two stitches and knit it. And then we have our 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 stitches like we were supposed to. Way, hey, away we go, all is dandy. Then you say yarn overs be my friend. Maybe hold these two together a little bit so they slide up. There we go. Now if you're working on double points, you won't have to push them down to the cable if you're working on 2 double points, so you won't have that problem. 2 cables is what I probably should have said. And double points won't have that problem at all. Alright, so where are we? We're still just knitting away, twisting, knitting. And again, however I grabbed it, I lost my yarn over at the end of the row. So I'm not going to cry, I'm just going to pick it up. Alright, so then we're on the 3rd pattern row, which is either slip 2 together or knit 2 together and then yarn over. So this means that we're going to just maintain the stitch count. That's why we're decreasing these 2. And let's see if it matters which way we go. Let's do it. I'm going to do it in a So in this case, we're putting the yarn over towards the spine. Or the spine on top of the yarn over. Doesn't matter. To some people, it will matter a lot. And to us, that's just something to learn from. We do them in sequence, just for why not? For symmetry. And there we go. Now they're starting to find their feet and not get all twisted up. All right, and we are going to twist these end stitches. And just knit that like we did last time. As we're coming across, maybe we're going to look at those the differences between the SSK and the K2 togs and see which one we like better. see what we can learn from it. See, that's the one leaning this way. That's our K2 tog. And yeah, I don't think I like it as much as the other one. But maybe, we'll see when we get... I think I like it better when the yarn over sits behind the main stitch. See it back there? But that's just information for us, because nobody who's actually looking at this, unless they're a knitting judge or something like that. That's just for us. Okay, so knit one, yarn over again. We've got that thing going on. Another time. So if we had 24 before, we're going to have 48. And again, twist one, yarn over, twist one, yarn over, twist one, yarn over. And I did make this in a just 100% merino. And I didn't twist everything. And at the end, I'll show you what that one looks like. It's fine if you don't twist them. So I have a friend who says I knit faster if I didn't inspect my knitting quite so much. And I do look at every stitch and make sure it's beautiful and make sure it's correct before I do whatever I'm going to do to it next. But it also helps me learn where I'm at in the pattern. It keeps me anchored. So again, our little twisted, look at them. Come on. There we go. All right. And since we're getting a little bit far away from being able to see that, I'll just tag them up there, so we know where we're going next time. Twisting, knitting. Uh-oh, I dropped a yarn over somewhere. Can you see it? That stitch right there was twisted. Where's my yarn over? Not sitting there. I'll just pick them up from down here. And then life is good. And here, oh, he worked himself out. Now look at these guys. You guys need to work yourselves out. Stand in line. These big holes going on. Makes me happy. So if you're not happy with yours and you're only right here and it looks like a tangled mess, or you've dropped something and you don't know what to do, or at this point if you've dropped something, we're only 9 rounds into it, just knit it over again and know that it's a little bit of learning. Because believe you me, this is not the first one that I've made. And it's okay. So long as you learn something every single time. It's okay. So you've twisted that one. And again, it seems that we've lost our yarn over. So, just make them. Alright, so this is the next pattern row. It says knit 1, yarn over, CDD. Central double decrease, so we're going to twist this guy, yarn over. This is how I do them. I slip them both. Knit 1 and pass the 2 slipped over. And there's other ways to do it. Maybe I should, my friend Carrie, she's got some way that she does it where she doesn't pull the, I'm not sure what she does. But in the end, it doesn't matter. We get the same result. What am I doing? Slipping one yarn over. This is CDD. These are going to be these are the bottoms of the little hearts. Look as I straighten it out, or string it out, and you get to look how beautiful everything we did so far is. That's a little puckery. We will just pull on this and we'll be fine. Let's see, there's our little yarn over in the bottom. That's going to be our heart. And that's just it. Then that's our spine coming up. Look how beautiful. You know, and then this back here, that little bump, that because we're so close to it and just knitting, that was a right leaning decrease. Remember when I did the right one, the left one, the right one, the left one? I guess I'll show you this way, that way, this way, that way. So that's the one where the yarn over stitch is over our spine stitch, and it kind of looks like he's got a little, needs a chiropractic adjustment. So that's a note we can make for ourselves. So here you're in a nice little rhythm. Twist one, yarn over, CDD, yarn over, twist one, yarn over, CDD, passing those 2 stitches over, yarn over, twist one, yarn over, CDD, Come on, my friend. Yarn over and we're back to the beginning. Yes, I keep my fingers in there because I've learned. So this one, twist one, knit one, knit one. Yeah, see? Knit one, knit one. Twist that because it's a spine. Knit these three because that's our yarn over, that's our heart, that's our yarn over. So I'm telling you this to help you try to build a map in your head of what it is you're making every single time, whether it's a doily or a scarf or cable pattern. If you can see it, you get to be off pattern a little bit faster, and not necessarily off pattern, but off paper. And it makes your knitting a little more ease-filled. You're not, oh my God, what does it say? There we go. So the next pattern round is knit one, yarn over, knit three, yarn over. With my choice to twist that first one, yarn over, and I'm going to twist this one as well because it's the outside edge of that heart. So that's the outside edge of the heart, that's the middle of the heart, we'll just do him normal, and that's the outside edge. And I'm doing this again because this is silk, and otherwise it will just flop all over. And we'll show you. I will show you that that is true. So if I just knit this one, knit this one, knit this one. Sometimes you need to be a little bit further away from it to really see it. But here, maybe you can see it. See these three, those two twisted stitches on the end, kind of holding it together, telling where to go. And these three, look at the bottoms of those. It just shows up more in with the silk. So we're just gonna Go back and fix it. And I didn't know that actually until I made it with soap. Just make it with other stuff and it worked fine. So sometimes there's things in a pattern that are just, yeah, so what? And sometimes they matter. So you mess around and find out what matters. For a minute there, I forgot what I was doing. But it's okay, because you just look and you're knitting. Most of the time it'll tell you. Look at that, I got nothing but my pinky saving me here. All right, so we're still twisting one. Yarn over, twist one, knit one, twist one, yarn over, twist one, yarn over, twist one, knit one, twist one, yarn over. Like, what am I doing here? Okay, so we're on our resting row. I'm going to twist that one as well because it's still the outside edge. Or at least I'm treating it that way. I do want to twist that one. I forgot where I was, but then look, it tells me to twist it. the last one. And again, my yarn over is missing, but you can also tell, you know, number one, because it's not here, and it really has to do with how I'm turning these corners, I think. But before I do that, I need to put them back on. And you can tell that he's gone, because look, these two are twisted over each other. That's what the lockdown row does. Takes that yarn over and twists them. Otherwise, he just looks like a ladder going across there. And then again, thank God for my little pinky. Taking up the slack, maintaining the slack in this magic loop. Go this way. Oh, I do want you that way. There we go. What are we doing? Twisting one, knitting one. Oh, there's one. That yarn overstayed. Okay. So there's our beginning, there's the middle, there's the end. Everything's kind of good. Second page worth of notes here. This is the twist one, or knit one, yarn over, knit 5, yarn over. So after this we should be able to really see this heart pattern that up until now has really been just a matter of trust. So knit 1, yarn over. I'm going to twist that first one because now he's the outside edge. Knit 1, 2, 3, twist him, yarn over for my spine, and there's this beginning of the next set. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, number 5 gets the treatment. Yarn over. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you see them? They're starting to form. Let's see if we look too often. That's part of the joy. For me, anyway. Look how beautiful. Twist hem. Here's the last one. For the heart, here's the yarn over. We may or may not lose at the beginning of this next row. Just one yarn over. Okay, and here's the last number 12. Twist one, knit one, twist hem, knit 1, 2, 3, twist that yarn over that we picked up from before. Yay for a pinky finger, right? And this might be where I'm losing my yarn over. Oh, it's still there. I might even get a double yarn over out of that one. We'll find out. We'll find out when we get to the end. Or we get back to the beginning, however you want to call that. Okay, tail. Get out of the road. So this is a resting row. That's the edge of the heart. That's the edge of the heart. And the yarn over. I was thinking about twisting this yarn over because he's going to be the edge of that heart right there the next time around. But I'm a little bit afraid that if I did that, then I would have a really tiny hole. And I don't want a tiny hole, I want big holes. Oop, and I didn't twist that one. We'll see what kind of trouble that makes for me next time. It's talking about trouble. And we're just knitting. This is a just knitting row. Take a break and a rest from all that patterning. If you miss a twist, it is really okay, I think. That was my inner Yoda coming out. See, way up here, they don't give you too much of a trouble. Getting back on there. Moving up. I'm also noticing, and I'm going to just tell you my notice at the moment. I tend to work these stitches, most of them back here before the needle starts to get slidey, get pointy. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I'm guessing that it might be as far as keeping the needles, stitches on your needle. And if you have really, really blunt tip needles, you're gonna have to work them back here because otherwise that just falls off. Needle ends right there. Thought I got him out of the way and he was just in the way. That little tail. Twist you up. And that is a double yarn over, and I only want one, so we're gonna just leave one. And we're just gonna have a really, really long weft, and we'll see how badly that shows up later. And it might not show up at all. So our next pattern row is knit 1 yarn over, knit 7 yarn over. Okay, I think that's where we are. Let's see. So twist 1, yarn over, knit 7, but we're going to twist the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's where we are in the pattern. And our pattern kind of tells us that too. Our knitting tells us. Because look, there's our spine, there's the yarn over that we've been making the whole time. This we want to be part of the heart, so I'm twisting it. Knit our heart, boom, 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 boom. See him happening going on there, that little triangle? Twist them, and what do I need? And yarn over. Twist that guy because he's been twisted the entire time. Yarn over, here's our heart pattern. Doot doot. Just keep knitting. That's what it says. Just keep knitting. He's becoming part of the heart. Now that he's been lifted, he can get twisted and part of the heart. I might have to start putting my pinky in on that side too. So if it's a yarn over knit 5, yarn over knit 3, yarn over knit 5, yarn over knit 7. What if the next time around is going to be yarn over knit 9? And it could be. Depends on how big we're making these hearts. So, pinky, away we go. Do we have yarn over? Yep. So, that one yarn over, twist them, It's just a riveting project, isn't it? Nope, not riveting, just rhythmical. See, at this point, it's not really a stress pattern. You did all that stressful stuff down in the center here. And we can just earn a little bit of relaxing. Just making sure. Okie dokie. So, oh, we don't have a next, oh, this isn't our pattern row anyway, is it? Nope. 17. So we do get quite a little bit of resting at this point. 1, 2, be careful not to drop your yarn overs. I don't know if you can hear the cat back there. He's not allowed in this room. but he's hoping. I counted there because, sometimes I just randomly start counting from just any number. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't have 9. Which I got to because I started counting at 5. Now, one might argue that you don't necessarily need the beginning of round marker. That little yellow piece of, you don't necessarily need that. And why? Because you get here and your knitting tells you what to do. This is a what am I doing? I didn't put a yarn over in. Good. But this is a resting row. Because there's a yarn over right there that needs to get picked up. Or a lockdown row, or whatever you want to call it. Because that, you can see the difference. That's not a yarn over, that's an actual stitch with legs coming in. So if that's your situation when you get to the end of the needle, then you know that you've completed the round. And on the other hand, some people will put a marker right there before the beginning of this is the next multiple. Here we go again. And you can do that too if you need it to help you keep track. But I tend to want to save my money, not buy the stitch markers, and save it for more yarn. See, there's the one I didn't twist. You can tell it in the line. It's a little drunk over there. Now, if I don't like that, because he's going to make a little, maybe he makes a little thing, maybe he doesn't, depends on how much he gets pulled. I was debating on fixing it. I don't think it's bad, so it's okay. Okay, now we get to see whether it's knit 1, yarn over, knit 9. And no, it's not. It is knit 1, yarn over, decrease, knit 5, decrease, yarn over. Okie dokie. So this is actually the row that this is the row that makes the hearts really tall. Well, it's not really tall, but they're tall, I think. So knit 1, yarn over. We're going to do the decrease that slants we already discussed that we like it better. That gets slanted into there. So the left-handed stitch is on top. And then we're going to keep going. Knit the 5, knit, so this right-handed stitch is on top. That slanted decrease. And knit 1. Oh, don't just knit it. What am I supposed to do? Hide him. Did you see me? I almost did the wrong one. Yeah, we're discussing whether we're going to have these long heart versions or the short heart versions. And this would be the row to leave out if you're doing short hearts. Short fat hearts. And again, did you catch me almost make the wrong decrease? Yeah, you Magic Loop fans would probably tell me that you could have saved yourself a lot of trouble over the years if you just slide up all your stitches before you pull them off. You might not need your pinky. Yeah. That's why there's always learning. Maybe I'll make a short version one and we'll do it on double. And when I say double, I don't mean double pointed needles, I mean 2 cables. I always see that little yellow thing and go, oh, I'm done. And then I still have stitches on the needle. Now we're done. Slide these up. And again, I don't really need this yellow thing. Tell me that it's the end of the row. Although I'm moving them up. I know it's the end of the row, and I know that this next one's what I call a resting row. And I know that because there's the yarn over. So again, twisting the edges of the heart, knit across. Twist the edge of the heart, knit him, twist them. So if you need a rhythm, it's, let's see. He just was on top of the other and threw me off. So the rhythm is twist, knit, twist, knit, knit. Knit, twist, knit, beginning of the row, twist, knit, twist. I just said beginning of the row, it's really the beginning of the repeat. And actually, it's really the beginning of the multiple. So, if we're going to be accurate with our nomenclature, because there are people who think that's important. So obviously I got lost somewhere, and there's a yarn over in the middle of my heart pattern. I'm going to just drop it off. Because I consider that a small issue here, and you know, if I got those big things sitting right there, I think it'll be okay. It's also, I'm not a big fan of this technique because to me it stretches stuff out, but that was me not knowing if we're on what kind of row we're on. But we'll see if it blocks out, and maybe I'll learn to like magic loop a little more. Okay, so now we're on the pattern row of knit 1, yarn over, SSK, knit 2, KP, knit 2, knit 2 together, yarn over. So this is probably the most complicated one. This is the most complicated row so far. And actually it won't be too sad if I lose my loop here, because we've got a lot of stitches in it. This half doesn't really matter to me so much, it's just this that does matter to me. So if I really wanted to, I could lose that, or potentially lose my magic loop here, so that I can look at it. I can... It's just such a pain to pull them back out. But see? It's kind of beautiful. It's coming along, is what, you know, and these are all even. Where these edges of the magic loop aren't tensioned so well. But hopefully that will block out a little bit. I won't be able to see it so much. But there's half of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is why the next row is a little bit complicated, because we're going to still knit 1 and yarn over. We're going to start making the lobes of our heart. So this one, we have to separate. So this is the KP. These are just knit normal. These are our 2 that we're putting together. And hopefully that made sense to you. What if not? It's okay, it will. Oh, look, I just lost my thing. Oh, no, I didn't. I did kind of just lose my thing. My little magic loop there. Which I could move over here and then put some pressure someplace else, but if it happens, it happens. All right, so we're at the beginning of the row. We're knitting 1, we're doing the long, complicated. Knit 1, yarn over. Knit these 2 together. Knit 2. That actually might have been a SSK2 together. I knit wonky, so it's really hard for me to tell. Try to tell you guys correctly, but here's your knit 1, and instead of knitting 1 again, we're purling into it, and the reason is I get a nice little hole. Knit 2, we're going to put these 2 together. See, to me this is also knit 2 together. Although I guess maybe you call that knit 2 together through the back loop. For me it turns out to be SSK. It leans the other way. So either way, we're putting that stitch on top of that stitch. However you feel like you need to do that, go ahead. knit one, purl one into the same stitch. Then we're putting that stitch on top of that one. So see all of that, oh my God. Knit one, purl one, SSK yarn over, blah, blah, blah. When we read it, it sounded overwhelming. When we look at it, knit one, yarn over, that's what we've been doing. We've already taken that one up. This is the only weird thing. Now we're making a place for the center of our heart. We've already done these. That's that side. Here we are. Here's our spoke. Nothing different. Here we go. So if we're making these long hearts, now I'm talking, I'm getting lost. But if we're making these long hearts, then you get the advantage of that one decreased row that I might take out to make shorter hearts. So we'll see about that. And just making sure that this KP comes through that center stitch, and that's the part there that I got lost on. Now for those who are sticklers, this is not a SS anything. This is a knit two together through the back loop, right? And that, it's knit two together through the back loop, that would twist it. You know what, I'm gonna just let that go because it's bugging me. And we can just, now we need this, well, we still don't really need it, but we might be able to stretch this out and just use the entire cable and not have to magic loop it. So knit one, knit those two together. Okay, you know what? There might be some trouble with this nomenclature. I'm trying to do this to tell you right. But I keep checking in my little pad over here, and knit two together leans this way. So this is not a knit two together, but clearly that's what I'm doing. I'm poking from the front. Those of you who are more astute might notice that my front leg is up here. And so we might have trouble talking to each other about what's happening. Well, let's see. Are we big enough to take up all of that? And not magic loop anymore? We are, and we can really look at what we've got, what we're making. That's the twisted one, right? No, that's the twisted one. All right, so let's back up and see what's going on here. I didn't knit two together, that's why I had an extra stitch there. But you release yourself, there we go. So yarn over, knit these two together. So whatever you call that decrease, that's what you call it. But we want the one that puts that stitch behind. And there's our friend. Now we're at the beginning. And we have a generic knit the row. With just enough stitches to kind of go around. And see, they're pulled, but they're not too pulled, and I think we'll see what happens when we get this thing wet. Oh, knitting these. Okay. So, ooh, maybe we should think about that, because these two center stitches aren't a part of the heart, but that is. Or they both might be. But I'm going to just knit them. And continue twisting the outside edge, because that's what I'm used to doing. Isn't that a little bit magic? You don't see anything and then boom. Here's the show. Uh-oh. So something's happening here. And we are in trouble. 'Cause that must have been at the end of a row. So not sure what. Okay, first, because this is silk and nothing will catch. Let's save them. Go, uh-oh, what the heck happened here? And we're gonna get to them. And hopefully not have to rip everything out down to this row, whatever this row might be. Looks like we had a problem here. I didn't see it because we caught that up. Or maybe this goes in between here. That's probably more like what happens. So instead of ripping this out, we are going to rebuild it. And if that doesn't work, then we're going to rip it out. Now it's time to fix it. Or try to, because if we don't, we're going to just have to rip it all the way back to this row. And let's not do that. So, what has to happen here? So we have at least this one we have to pick up. And and then probably a couple in here, because this looks like a yarn over that goes over there. And then we'll see what happens. Because I believe we need a total of 7. Is that what we need? Yarn over, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Knit those 2 together and a yarn over. Oh, except that was the row. So that's what it should have been. Yarn over, knit 2 together, 1, 2, 3. Oh no, this was the, that's the KP, knit and purl. So 1, knit 2 together, 1, 2, KP, 1, 2. So we dropped this when we're knitting 2 together. So that's what happened. Let's quit talking about it and we'll see what we can do about it. So, trusty old crochet hook. We know for sure that's just a normal as far as this one's concerned. Then that piece of yarn goes up, was part of that. Is that bottom yarn? It sure is. Okay, so then that makes it clear that this one is next. Last rung. We'll stick him here and then see what we got left going. So something else, it's like a yarn over from that row or something, because these stitches are way too large. And we'll count it off again. So the yarn over, knit 2 together. Is that what the pattern was? Yarn over, knit 2 together. Or that's the knit 1 front and back. Let's check it. Do. Yep, yarn over. Yeah, that is a. Is that yarn over and yarn over, knit 2 together, KP, or knit 2 together. Anyway, this is a KP. That should be a knit together. That's knit 1, knit 2. Somewhere else there's going to be a knit. So right here, those 2 are crossed. So that yarn over for that row is fine, because they're crossed. These 2 are not. So we'll make the yarn over for that row. And then I'm going to guess again that he goes up this side. Oops, that's not you. I got this guy right down here. That's next. that's next. And this is the extent of my crochet skills. So I'm going to let you hold that last one that we fixed, and then we'll let you hold this one that we fixed, because now we'll put that one back over here. We're not sure what has to happen here. So that was KP. Down here there's supposed to be a knit two together, which we can assume happened. I'm not sure if it did. Here's the KP. I don't see the knit two together on this side either. But our stitch count's fine, and it might have been... Maybe it didn't knit... What was this row? Yarn over. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it too much. Two together, 1, 2, 1, 2. Because we've got, this is what we've got. 1, 1, 1, 2. Our KP 1, 1, 2, 3. So that these two. Oh, maybe I picked up one too many. 1, 1, 2. We'll see. But anyway, except for that not being twisted, that looks a lot better. All right, let's drop that down and see if we can actually get it to look right. Because it'll only fall that far. It's a new stitch. I don't want to get too arrogant, because maybe we should drop that one too. Okay. So here's the issue. We pick up the knit as seeing that's good. Then I want to twist this stitch. So let's do it. Turn it. Twist it. Oh, aha. Did we have, what about the row before that? That's what's supposed to happen. So I knitted all of these up, but this guy and that guy are supposed to be together. They're supposed to be one stitch. So just in case something disastrous happens, I'm going to go like that. That was the original one that I just laddered up to see what was going on. Here's the two that I just fixed. And what do we like? We like this side on top, so we'll go in that way. There's the next ladder up. It's there easy for us, instead of all that other stuff that was going on before. Where's our next ladder? Right there. And then it looks like these two should be knitted together, so let's see. Does that work out? And that looks much better. Ooh, that looks perfect. We did a good job. That looks good. So knit one, or this is the KP. Whatever happened down here, we did or didn't do. Whether or not we did the end. I can't really tell what the pattern was. But we'll see when we get to the next row. But we've been doing that, so we're... Actually, this should have happened on the row below. Alright, so since we're being perfect about this, I myself don't care, and I don't think anybody else would see it if I just knit these two together on my resting row, or my fix-it row, or my lock-it-in row. So let's do that. We'll fix it up there, and see, 1, 1, 2, those two centers. So all together, they're 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side. 1, 2, 3. That'll actually make 5 over there. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I come to my next manipulated row for making the lace, that's all fine. So I could continue to go on and just boop, 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 and really nobody would be the wiser that happened. It's kind of like the same as down here. At this point, remember way back here where that's a SSK and that's a knit two together? Oh, no, they weren't on there. They were on these things. Like, where did that go? We did it. You were here with me. I showed you the jog that it made. And by the time we get up here and everything's all pulled, oh, here it is. Here's one. So it's there. It's there. Look how hard we had to look for that. So that's pretty tough. So if you want to just keep going and continue to knit along, that's fine. Otherwise, this is how we fix this. So I'm not going to put that in because I can just tink into the row below. Okay, do we got them without dropping them or splitting either of them? Okay, the answer is yes. So those are the two that need to be knit together. And then take that yarn out. So I have a big long strand. Keep my yarn over. Except I showed you before how to deal with dropping a yarn over, so that's not a big deal. Take that ladder, stick it on there, as if I was coming around. Those two are knit together on the row below where they were supposed to, where they originally fell off. And now I'm back to this row, where this guy would just get knit and he'd get twisted, so let's do that. So I knit into the back of the stitch and twist them. Or let's twist him this way since he's it's kind of stretched out. Let's twist him around a couple of times. Take up some slack. So now he's twisted. because that's what we've been doing. Right? And this was just twist them. Knit these guys. Just normally. So that's also why it's really good to look at your knitting as you do it. Every row, every 2 rows. Make sure it's still beautiful. And then you can find those drop stitches or whatever the issue is early enough to fix it without having to rip anything out. Because the further back you've got to go, the harder it is to fix. So hopefully we don't do that again. Trying to pull up some of that slack out of that, but I'm pretty sure it'll take care of itself. That's where the other needle, that's where the magic loop was pulling. So now would be a good time to tell you guys about lifelines. And you can use a lifeline in any kind of knitting. If you're unfamiliar with any kind of pattern, you stick in a little piece of dental floss or something to hold the stitches on the row that you know it is correct. So we're reasonably sure that any of these I used to call them comeback rows, but that's what we're knitting around, so we're not coming back. So now I call them resting rows. So any of these resting rows or lock-in rows where it's just knit, that's a good, you know you didn't make a mistake there. So that's a good place to put a lifeline. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. My favorite way, when I'm using an interchangeable needle, there's a little hole back here and you can just stuff the piece of dental floss, thread it through there, and let the needle pull the yarn around as you're knitting it. And I thought maybe I'll stop and get a little piece of tape and see if I can cheat that way with my lifeline for the rest of these. Or maybe I'll get arrogant and do one more row and do it on the next round. on the next resting round. Or I can take a little break. We weren't. And place it with a darning needle, which is not my favorite way to do it because I'm lazy and it means I have to make a step. And stop knitting. So maybe right here, I'll stop and get a piece of tape. Oh, I have a piece of tape. We'll just see if this works. A little piece of tape, tiny piece of tape. Tiny piece of tape. And some handy dandy dental floss. And I'll show you how this goes so that your knitting kind of does it for you. So typically, let's just do what I typically do because it'll go back further. So I don't normally put it quite this far because, like I said, my needle generally has a hole right there. But this is a fixed circular. And I think my piece of tape for this might be a little too big, but because now I'm going to have to pull this piece of tape through as well. But hopefully that won't be too big of a problem. We might get a couple of free. Maybe we won't get any free stitches pulling it back like that. But anyway, here's our new spot for a little bit of a magic loop right there. As we knit these last couple stitches to show you one way of placing a lifeline. And when people ask you, why you got dental floss in your, they'll think you're a dental hygiene OCD kind of thing. And you can let them think that, but you'll know. It's just a trick for saving yourself. Okay, and then our last yarn over. Come off. And then our stitch marker. Okay, and so as we knit these stitches, oh, we're having a problem because our tape's too fat. Maybe I should have put it up there instead of way down here on the cable. you'd figure if that's going through there, this teeny little thing should go through there, right? That was my theory. Apparently not working. Prove the hypothesis wrong. Or at least difficult. Maybe it's just that the tape is tape. Sticky side showing and doesn't want to go through here. Oh, we got one. Oh, there we go. Now they're starting to move smoothly. It's kind of like the magic loop at the beginning. Okay, so the whole point being that for these however many stitches that we did, we now have a lifeline. So if I did that mistake, it would only fall back to here. I wouldn't have to catch it quite so far. And that's fine for that, but what about all of these other ones? Well, let's take care of that. Let's take care of that as well. Done with the dental floss. Out comes. See, that's my tightener for the needles I normally use. Here comes a little needle. Here we go. Hopefully I made this longer. If not, I'm not too worried. Hey! Done with you. So where do we start? Now don't panic that I'm doing this from the non-public side. It's just, and you can do it from either side, whichever side is comfy and convenient. If I didn't have this other end already attached here, I might continue going using the other end of the dental floss to get around. But I didn't, so I just chose to go this way, and you can go either way. Try not to split your stitches. It doesn't really matter all that much, but it's nice to not. So if you need to put a lifeline in every row, every wrong side row or every even numbered row or whatever, however you want to call it, every odd numbered row depending on how pattern's written, every convenient row, let's just call it that. And even if that is every other row, that is absolutely fine. If you feel it saves you time, by all means do it. Especially if you can thread it to the needle and just have it do it for you or do it with you. If you got to resort to a piece of tape to do it that way, I don't know. But just follow the cable through these, whatever that's doing, we're just going to follow the cable through it. Yeah, and with this pink yarn, I don't know that you see the lifeline, and you know what? That's fine. You don't need to see it, you just need to know that it's there. And it's only there for you. We're going to take it out at the end. Here we go. And personally, I don't set one of these in the first however many rows, because I figure if I've got less than 15 minutes or a half an hour invested, I'll just rip it out and go back to the beginning. But when you're out here with your 100 stitches, or that's a lot of stuff to have to redo if you can't fix it the way I just showed you. You know, it's worth it. And here we are. I think we're all the way around. Oh, are we? Yeah, we're all the way around to the beginning of the row, but we're not to where we put that, are we? We are. Da, 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 da. Here's our other guy. Oh, I got plenty. Let's take him off. Thank you, small piece of tape. Did your job a little too well. Wow, you are really attached to this cable. Okie dokie, another tool out of the bin. Okay. There we go. I made these really long. At least I think they're really long. Circumference is a hard thing to tell. For now, I'm just going to knot them together. I don't need to knot them. And I don't need to cut the ends off either, but I'm just getting rid of that piece of tape. I'm going to put that away. Now, back to a regularly scheduled program. This, I think, is just pulled from the tape. 1. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. That's not pulled from the tape. What happened? We dropped a stitch? while making a lifeline? Are you nuts? What happened? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, we're fine. That's just pulled from trying to pull tape through. So, I think we're good. Get everything out of the way, including the working yarn, tail, lifelines, everything that's supposed to make our life easier. Here we go. That's not the working yarn. There we go. All right, so disaster is averted. You know what, I'm not sure that this isn't a mistake, but it doesn't count out wrong. We'll see when we get there. Take this out because it's not holding anything. And then we'll just mark it to see. Next time we get over here, is there a problem? All right, so real-time knitting. It's called excitement, isn't it? For all of you who need to lower their blood pressure. Shall I start talking all mellow? You are in a meadow. Okay, so we are now ready for whatever next row we've got. So far they're all twist. Let's make sure it's a knit one. So, ooh, it's not knit one. We're now at a knit two together. Yarn over, so a decrease, a yarn over, a decrease, a decrease slanting one way, yarn over, slanted decrease, yarn over, this SSK, K-tog, yarn over, CDD. $124 stitches, probably. Let's see what we got going on. Oh, 124 isn't. Let's see. 120? What's the math? Okay, so this, actually, this is going to be a CDD. I'm going to give you the option. You can either knit them together now, and then when we get to the end, put this over. So given that's how the instructions, that's one option. We could do it that way. So let's. Okay, we'll knit those two together. And next time we have that instruction, we will we'll do it the other way. I'm mostly just trying to avoid that thing. Okay, so we have our knit two together, yarn over your left slanted decrease, your SSK, and we are just working these, even with that lifeline in there, you're just working them normally. There's nothing, try to keep the lifeline below what you're actually working, instead of working it in. The only issue with working it in is when you go to pull it out, if it's kind of wrapped up with your yarn, it's harder to pull, in which case you just cut it. But if it's if everything's nicely underneath and not caught up here, wrapped with your needle, you can just pull the whole 120 stitches out when the time comes. So anyway, we had our, this will be a CDD when we get to it, because we need to take the stitch from this side to make it. So that will be a CDD. Right now it's a K-tog. Yarn over, left leaning decrease. Oh, I was talking and just knit that. Then immediately we're doing a right leaning decrease. So this is making the lobes of the heart, and we're going to try not to knit that in, and it's going to get knitted in, and guess what, it's okay. Okay, so our left leaning decrease, our right leaning decrease, tighten it up a little bit and decide whether or not we want to try to twist them, or if just the decrease is enough. Then we've got our yarn over, another left leaning decrease, which is an SSK, but not the way I do it. A right leaning decrease. I was a little bit worried here when that yarn over, because now this yarn over isn't going to be part of this heart anymore. It's going to be that yarn over down there, the stitch above it is going to be part of the center double decrease. So again, this is how I work them, and there are other ways. Well, that's one of the ways that I work them. So yarn over. So this is like a lot of little decreasing rows in this row. A lot of work. So we had a couple of silent rows where I was quiet on this one. It says, hey, I hope you still out there? Wake up. Wakey, wakey. Okay. Left leaning decrease, right leaning decrease. Part of the issue for me telling you these is I don't know my left from right. So if I misspeak, that's that. So we're just working them so that they work into the heart. And again, here's my lifeline. Kind of getting knitted in, it's okay. It might not be as slick as I want when I pull it out, and I can always drop my lifeline yarn over when I get to the next row. So I'm really, really not concerned. Nothing to worry about. Although you can try to make yourself life a little easier. Okay, CDD, because here we are. Look, we almost have enough stitches to make this cable all the way around without loopy, because he's all stretched out. So, see, and there's our yarn over from, that's our, it's not a yarn over, that was our KP, and our knit and purl into the same stitch. And look, it makes a nice little hole. Made the hole for us. Now what's going on right here? My needle has poked through. One of these is a yarn over, and one of these is supposed to be the stitch that winds the yarn over, and I think this is, no, that's the guy from below. So, and there's our lifeline preventing anything else from happening, but it wouldn't happen anyway because that's a yarn over. And they only tend to drop as far as they orient. So there, that looks better when we're going to make our, that's something we can make a CDD into, right? Yep. So even, there we go. Yeah. So one hint that I don't know, I use my fingers quite a lot to hold the stitches on the needle, for one, or to pull it so it's easier to get my needle through them, as another way. That one's holding those on so they don't fall off and make a big mess, but they won't make a big mess because I got that piece of dental floss in there. And come on around, little guys. I don't have quite enough stitches to make that push themselves. Okay, come on everybody. See, we'll make it so we can look back here and work up here. So we're still on, knit these two together, leaning that way. Knit these two together, leaning that way. Catch that thing if we happen to. Knit these two together, leaning that way. Work a CDD in whichever manner is comfortable for you. So, lots of times I scrape myself like that. I have had sore fingers from knitting, or this finger from poking that one down. I'm assuming other people have that problem too. I once bought a leather sewing, say that real fast, a leather sewing thimble. All right, so we have yarn over, we have 5 over here and 5 over there, which is, no, we don't have 5 over there, we have, this is where we're having the problems. Oh, we're not having problems. That's where that was stretched out. So we are good. This is the yarn over. These two lean this way. These two lean that way. This is where our yarn over goes because we want it there. That's all stretched out, but we'll ignore that. There's nothing wrong here. We did everything correctly. And you can tell because you got to wherever you got to, and it's all working out. Not fretting over lost stitches. Oh my gosh, I have one too many or too few. Oh, don't knit. This is a decrease, the yarn over. Geez, by the time you do this 12 times, you've definitely got this pattern memorized. I hope. And then by now, hopefully you're reading your knitting and knowing what it's telling you to do. So this is that last stitch. This was supposed to be a central double decrease, the knit 3 together with the center stitch coming up the middle. But this stitch was on the wrong side of the stitch marker, right? So I could have just whipped it down and worked the stitch from that side, or worked these 2 stitches. There's lots of ways to handle that. In this case, at least for now, the pattern's written in such a manner. So we're going to take this stitch, we're going to take that yarn over. I didn't work it. It's still from that last row. And I'm going to drop it off, drop it over, and it's still part of that last row. And put that back on there, beginning of the round, see? Now that's part of that. And I'll lift this up because he's our beginning of the row. kind of lock them in there, Mr. Beginning of the row. And we are going to just knit around like we normally do. And are we going to twist these? Yeah, let's twist them because they are top of the heart. And just knit that, drop that thing out of our way. You see me stretch to get that Lifeline yarn over off my needle. That's what that was about. Yeah, well, all of that knitting, we only did 4. We got 12 to go. You kind of feel giant by the time you get out here. So knit the stitch, not the lifeline. We've got about that going on about 4 times now. So that's why I wouldn't recommend using a piece of the same thread, because then you wouldn't know which it is. But always, for Lifeline, always use something slick. So if you do have a piece of silk, like fingering like this, and you're working on some weird stitch pattern and bulky, you could use this instead of dental floss. But dental floss is good. It's waxed. It slides. Ooh, here's a big one, kind of. Oh no, it just happens with the yarn over. Wait, what just happened there? Da 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 da. That's the beginning of the row, right? Okay, I am not really sure what happened. It looks like I left a row out for these last ones. Or I skipped a row. So these 4 are supposed to be 4 knitted. So last time they were supposed to be 4 knitted stitches, not 2. Is that right? What's going on here? Where are we? Oh, we're just knitting across. That's all. See? I don't know what was going on in my brain. It's a lifeline row. This is just an anchoring row, so I'm not trying to knit anything together. We're just knitting. Although we are twisting these. See, even though I gotta do it 12 times, sometimes I forget. Wander off. Go la-da-da. This is supposed to be hard. I should be paying attention. And all of a sudden I'm like not paying attention and get lost. Although I get lost going down a straight road, so yeah. Yeah, we're just knitting, nothing special. Now here we come, beginning of the row, and we'll end up closing the tops of these hearts, because right now they have 2 stitches at the top of that heart, and we're going to make it 1. Okay, so in this case, you finished that, and we are now on knit 2 together, yarn over, a LHD, a yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, RHD, yarn over, CDD. And the last time I showed you how to do the knit 2 together and then take the last stitch, the one that's going to be a CDD right here, take this stitch and stick it over there. Or we can knit these 2. Or we can move the marker and put it over here, but we can move the marker. Let's see. Yeah. Trying to think of what I want to do, what I want to show you. But I think we'll just leave it like that. We'll knit those two. This one will get lifted over to complete that central double decrease, the same way we're kind of doing that, what I'm calling the hanging decrease that we're going to do right here. So this is where we're also going to make some decisions. Maybe we like it better if this one, which one, well, whether we're going to do right hanging or left hanging decrease. So if we want this one to hang over top of that one, I'm calling it hanging because this stitch that I didn't knit and I'm just placing over kind of hangs off of him like a necklace. In this case, we hung him from the center to the outside, and we made our yarn over it like we need it, and we just knit that stitch. And then I believe it's a yarn over, you knit that guy, and I'm going to let that hang and be open at the top of the heart. Now we're going to do a hanging decrease in the other direction, but I can't get to, that's going to jump over top of that like we're, so we'll slip them both, pull him over, unknitted, and then put him back so we can knit him. Keep our yarn over, knit him, yarn over, and then what happens to these three? CDD, that's right. So yay. So we're going to do a hanging decrease. Maybe in this case, let's test them out and see if we can see any difference, or we like any difference. Instead of hanging this decrease from the center of the heart to the outside, which is right slanting, what if we make them left slanting? And see what we like, and we'll do that around the rest of the heart. See if it makes any difference compared to the first one. Yarn over, and knit him and just let him be open. And then we're going to close this heart towards the inside so we can just bind him off that way. Knit him, yarn over, CDD. Okay, and then let's stop and take a minute and see if we can notice any difference or much of one. I don't know. I kind of think these ones, where we went from the center of the heart to the outside first, I think they look more rounded. What do you think? This one to me looks really pointy, really pointed. What about this one though? Because we made him the same way where this outside edge is a little more pronounced because that's the stitch that's over the top. That's the stitch that's maintained and knitted into the next row. I don't see much of a difference, at least as long as they're mirrored. So mirrored means that on this side we went that way, and on that side we went this way. On this side we went this way, and that side we went that way. So within each heart, the decreases are mirrored. And I don't think that it really makes much of a difference which way you go. So I'm going to go, I'll do it every other one like we did before. So an inside. And an inside. And an outside one. Outside. And I'm going to yarn over. CDD. And again, I'm going to stop and look and see if I can see a difference in how the tops of the hearts. Maybe we're too close to the needle to really, really tell what we like. And I think so long as you're mirrored, it will look fine no matter what. And it might even look fine if you just be easy and take all of the ones that, take them all this way, because that makes it easier to knit. You know, if you're always binding them off. Let's bind those two off right-wise. Since we can't really tell, let's see if that makes a difference. Because believe it or not, some people get really uptight about that. And we're going to find out if there's a reason they should be uptight. Should they be uptight about it? Top of these, do I see a huge difference? Do I see a difference enough to... That's the... From the inside to the outside, outside to the inside, and both of them worked in the direction that's easiest. And honestly, I don't see a difference. So if you're going to bind them off, just... You can do it that way. But I'm not going to. I don't know, there's just something in my gut that says, don't do it. Or it's just been beaten into me that that I should. Big S word. Come on, gotta knit you still. Kind of wonders me. So. Now I don't know which way I went with that. But as we discussed, I don't think it really, really matters. So long as the top of the hearts are bound off and tops of the hearts are bound off. And we're working this CDD. Make sure we take those over. If we don't do it now, we'll do it in the next row. Make sure you go back and knit this thing. You know, it does involve transferring the stitch from one needle to the other a couple of times. Oh, I'm not alternating, am I? Not on this half, so let's see if anything's really glowingly between this half and the other. There, now I'll alternate. It's from the outside. Okay, last one, best one. Yarn over. Yarn over. So this is the last one. It's part of that CDD. So pick that up, get the stitch marker out of the way. Give ourselves some room to move here. Slide them over. Okay, and keep our yarn over, our beginning of round marker, kind of in the same thing. And then this is our one of the last anyway, if not the last. Just knit everything. Well, let's we'll twist the spine ones. Okay, but let's just keep knitting these. Oh, we'll knit that one. Twist the spine. Because I think just knitting them will make it look a little bit more like these hearts are floating. And oh my gosh, look how much extra we've got here. I think it's correct though, I don't think we made a mistake. I do think that's just from the magic loop. Oop, twist him. Ooh, this hole's big too. Oh, maybe because we dropped that other thing and it's sitting down there really tight and all that. I don't think I'm sad about it though. Those things being really, really big. Because that one's pretty big too. Like that might just be, I think that's fortuitous because we're not twisting. Got so used to twisting so often. Now that we're only twisting the spine stitches. Oh, and come on, little tail. You haven't... Why you choose to get yourself wrapped around the working yarn now, I don't know. But you are a little bit ridiculously long. So, in the interest of saving time, cut you down a little bit. Make you a stitch marker for a different project. Let's see if that tripped us up. Nope. Not at this late date. Not at this late date. That one we are twisting. That one we're not. Okay, so now we coming to the end here. And I'm wondering about binding off, and I could bind off right here, but I think that would be a little bit too close to the hearts. And this is where one iteration of the pattern ended. you don't get twisted. We're letting you be a little bit loosey. Because you're not part of a heart. You are part of a heart. Or you are part of a spine stitch. Oh, I twisted you anyway. Just double checking. I thought maybe we dropped something, but that's where I just first said, oh look, everything's really loose right there. But he's fine. And the reason I know that he's fine, are these are crossed. So, yeah, I was just catching a little bit of alarm. Could be done by now if I wasn't looking at it so often, huh? I've heard that before. Come on, tail. I don't know why you're getting in the way now. Okay, so at this point, back to the beginning. So next round, yarn over. Knit one, yarn over, knit one, yarn over, CDD. Okay. So we're going to twist one, yarn over, twist one, no, let's do this, twist one, yarn over, yeah, we're not going to do it. I have originally wrote here. I'm going to go yarn over, CDD, yarn over, knit one. Repeat that from the other to the other round. So we knit that one, yarn over. We're going to put a little NUP or K3 together right on top of this heart. Yarn over, knit one, and I'm not going to twist them because I don't feel like it. Well, mostly because look how open they are with this silk. Though, you know, there's nothing, they're slidey, and I like it, so that's why I'm doing it that way. And then we'll do our CDD. Twist it, yarn over, CDD, yarn over, let it go, yarn over, oops, what happened here? We don't have a yarn over. Well, we've done that before, haven't we? So we pick it up and we make one. And now I have 3 stitches. How did I know? Because I didn't have 3 stitches for my K3 here. So you get out here, you get a little tired. Sometimes you knit a yarn over, sometimes you drop it. Sometimes they might fall off when you didn't mean to because you're pushing stuff up. You know, it happens. Oop, I did it again. So there's the yarn over I didn't make right there. Okay friends, now it's time to block our piece here. We've got a mat, a circle as a guide, pins, and here we go. And this I got absolutely smashing, soaking wet, and then dried it out a little bit. And our guide circle looks like it might be a little small. Maybe it's a little perfect. We'll find out. But we'll start. We'll start off on the circle. We won't end up with it, I can tell. But if we just get everything kind of Alright, so if we leave it on that dinner plate circle, that's what we got. That's 12. Or we could go for that kind of a look. Depends on how stretched out we want these to be. If we like that, maybe we'll just put everything on the circle. Let's start with that. But I am picking the spines and then these center points. And I don't feel bad about going directly around the circle instead of this side and that side for these ones. I don't know that it matters how you block, it just matters that you do it. It lets everything open up and tells it how you want it to behave. And this way we have a lot of teeny little scallops. Maybe we like it like that. Here's our tail. Have to weave that in later. So that's 24. So that's fairly round with scalloped edges. Let's try it if we pull these spines out. See if we like it like that. No, I don't think I do, because then it starts to look a little bit square. And we kind of lose that, so we get... Yeah, nope, I think I kind of like it, because I don't... Typically, I block to stretch these as far as they will go. But... I'm not thinking that this is too bad. Ooh, better put him back if we're going to put him back, right? So I think that looks good. Now just let them dry and we'll take the pins out. Alright, so we're dry. I'm taking all the rest of the pins out. And then what's just left is to weave in some ends. So we'll do that together. Oh, and we get to take out our little lifeline here. We can do that at any time. Oh, help if you take the knot out of that so it will slide out. We're done with him. Oh, you're kind of somewhere on the back side. Here we go. Now, I am not an expert on weaving in ends, but for most yarns, I like a duplicate stitch on the back side, which means you kind of follow the stitch and duplicate it. So here's the stitch. That's the nearest one to where I poked out. Goes up and around and comes down through there. So that's what I'm going to do. Follow that stitch. Go under that little pokey thing. Come on, he comes around. He goes under that and under that, so we will too. Then it comes up and around here. Tension for weaving in ends is just don't try to pucker anything. And then as far as something that's slick like silk, I heard somebody uses super glue to make sure that the end stays where they want it. I don't know how I feel about that, but so a lot of times my superwash will superwash yarns poke through after a couple of times in the laundry. This being in Doily, I don't imagine it's going to get laundered all that much. But maybe, I guess, if you stick it under a plant or something. And in this case, I'm doing something that I hardly ever do. I'm going to make a little overhand knot right there. And hope that that will kind of help keep my end. I'm not sure how I feel about putting knots in my knitting either, but put another knot in it. Okay, so there's that one. Off he goes. And well, I did this one before on the video that unfortunately we lost a little video, and we took that end and weaved it in through these stitches, kind of this way. I think I went up this way and then came down, and then duplicate through the reverse stockinette, because that's an easy place to do it. And you can see the little happy face or the and then the umbrella and the happy face. Kind of make a little train track that goes along. Happy face, umbrella, happy face, umbrella. And duplicate stitch from the back side kind of goes up through a happy face, up through an umbrella, down through an umbrella, back through the same happy face, up through the next happy face, back through the umbrella, up through, and down, like, you know, just kind of makes a big S through the stitches that are there. And there are, I'm not sure where I learned that from, probably somebody at YouTube, so thank you to them. I'll cut him off. And I didn't knot that one, so hopefully we don't end up regretting that later. But there we go. Everything's finished, right up to the finishing. And there we have it.